So Mo, when you first came to the course, you were kind of stuck at that 3K, 2K range per month, right? And within the first 10 days of working together, do you remember what you made?
Yeah, it was 2100. It's on my Instagram. It was a surreal moment, to be honest with you.
And even in our first 2 months of working together, you finished on 7K, right?
Yeah. It was crazy. It really was crazy. $7,000.
Okay, so Mo, I want to take it back a little bit. Before you even started working as a setter, what made you go into the online sales space?
And I remember seeing some kid who made something like $7,000. His name is Louis. He said, "Yeah, I made $7,000. Blah blah." I was thinking $7,000, bro, from your laptop. He was like, "Yeah, I sent a few DMs." I was thinking, boy, what the hell?
Yes, boys, welcome to another video. I'm here with Mo.
What's up, guys?
Mo, introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Mo. I'm one of Chris's ex-students. I'm now a setter manager for 2 offers. I worked with Chris for about 3 months total. Been in the online space for about 7 months now. So it's been a minute.
So Mo, when you first came to the course, you were kind of stuck at that 3K, 2K range per month, right? And you knew you had the skills, right? The talent for sure, but you just wanted to scale that and kind of, earn more commissions essentially. And within the first 10 days of working together, do you remember what you made?
Yeah, it was 2100. It's on my Instagram. It was a surreal moment, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was all from, I think pretty much a large amount was DM closes, funnily enough, which is something Chris has really put me on.
And even in our first 2 months of working together, you finished on 7K, right?
Yeah. It was crazy. It really was crazy. $7,000.
Okay, so Mo, I want to take it back a little bit. Before you even started working as a setter, what made you go into the online sales space?
So I was actually doing door-to-door sales, funny enough. I'll go back nearly 2 years. Proper graft. That was like day in, day out. Whether it was snowing, raining, I was locking them doors. So that made me quite resilient in terms of how I approach sales. 100 doors, no matter what. I was actually the best rep on my door-to-door sales team, which was, I think best rep in the country for 2 months in a row actually as well. Yeah. So I wasn't exactly the worst in terms of that. I didn't leave because I was the worst or I was underperforming. I left actually at one of the best times during my door-to-door sales career. So I found the online sales space on Twitter, Money Twitter, I think. And I remember seeing some kid who made something like $7,000. His name is Louis. He said, "Yeah, I made $7,000. Blah blah." I was thinking $7,000, bro, from your laptop. He was like, "Yeah, I sent a few DMs." I was thinking, boy, what the hell? What am I doing wrong? I was on decent money, but this is insane to me. He was a kid as well. I think he was 18. So it really opened my mind in the sense of bro, this kid's from Cambridge, I think, and he's making this sort of money. What am I doing? So I messaged him and I got into the space, he helped me out, he helped me get my first role, so he put me on. And then I slowly started cutting back my door-to-door sales hours and, increasing it in terms of online. The setting, it was graft, to be honest with you. First role was warm outbound from ads. I was doing outreach, every single day, no matter what. It was graft, but I got to £20,000 in my first month with that offer. And then obviously I moved on to a better offer, but learning those skills on a role like that would just simply not be the case. I wouldn't have learned those skills had I been on an inbound role off the bat, for example, doing that trench work, because I wasn't uncommon. It wasn't uncommon for me to do trench work. I did trench work back when I was in door-to-door sales. So I knew, listen, you gotta put the reps in, 100 a day, 100 a day is 100 doors in door-to-door, but 100 outbounds in online space. So obviously that converted a lot of the mindset, a lot of that same approach to sales, shall I say, converted well in the online space. And obviously, the hungrier you are, the better you'll do, essentially, man.
For sure, yeah. Now, of course, as mentioning, we started working together when you were already at 3K.
Yeah.
For most people watching this, 3K is a lot of money per month, right? But what was it that made you think that's actually not enough? I want to make more.
Because obviously the guy that got me into the space, obviously I spoke to him, I spoke to a few other setters, and they mentioned, yeah, I'm doing 7-8K setting. I was thinking, setting, you're doing $7,000-$8,000 a month. That's insane to me. So I knew there was a clear disparity between where I was, which was okay. Obviously it enabled me to leave my door-to-door sales job, but clearly there's complete levels to this. So I knew I didn't have much experience DM closing. I maybe did a few, couple $1,000s in DM closes before that, here and there. The offer one, I wasn't too keen on DM closing either. So I didn't really have much experience doing DM closing, for example. It was literally just me relying on closers to close my calls, no post-call or follow-up process or anything like that. So we're leaving a lot of money on the table, which meant I was kind of capped at $3,000, even though I was top setter. So I was a top setter on the offer by a large margin. I was DM closing a lot as well in terms of low tickets, but not much high tickets, because it requires a more nuanced approach, a more intelligent approach in terms of that. You have to think like a closer rather than a setter.
For sure. And from working together, how quickly did you start seeing that real change?
I'd say pretty quick. I actually heard about a few people speak to me about Chris before and how good he was. So a large reason why I actually started working with Chris was literally based on what other people had told me about Chris and, what benefit he'd brought to them and how far he'd taken them in the space. And the impact he has not only as a set manager or a coach, but more so as an individual. And that's what really, drew me to Chris and to working with Chris.
And what do you think led you to becoming number one that quickly and even keeping that for that long?
I think it was number one, like I took a more intelligent approach to setting. Obviously, I can say like my door-to-door experience, without a shadow of a doubt, did help me massively, right? People like to say, whatever, you can hop into sales with no experience. You can for sure, but you have to do the trench work somewhere, right? You have to put in the reps. So to my benefit, I already done the reps for years, and obviously all that compounded my experience on the other offer, my experience on the the outbound off, all that trench work, shall we say, compounded. And when I started with Chris, him and his expertise with DM closing just was a match made in heaven, really.
And even in terms of emotional intelligence, right, you've got that just better. And I think I mentioned it multiple times on my my pages and other videos. That is so important when it comes to DM closing, because you're acting as a closer.
100%.
Pretty much.
100%.
And in terms of us working together, what would you say are some of the things that from the coaching and mentorship that I kind of gave to you, what kind of most impactful?
I'd say is most impactful would really be one, the approach of thinking like a closer rather than a setter, right? Second guessing, don't take a lead or what a lead says as
Face value.
Face value, right? Oh my God, he said this, so it can't be true. No, right? Think about this from a perspective, like a complete perspective. Okay, let's picture ourselves in the lead shoes and how would I react if someone said this, right? It's about having that emotional intelligence, number one, but that's probably the most important thing in setting, right? People don't like to hear it because obviously it's not the amazing best answer out there, but if you haven't got emotional intelligence, you just won't make it as a setter, unfortunately. You'll do okay. I mean, you can make 2-3K a month with setting if you're okay with that. But to get to, where me and, other people in the space have got to, $7,000-8,000 with appointment setting alone, it's going to take a whole different level,
For sure. And what would you say was like your first proper major win that maybe you told your friends about, your family,
My first major win was actually making my first commissions. I posted it on my Twitter. I was over the moon. I think it was a £5,000 deal. £250 in comms from one client for sending a few DMs. And that was, I think I booked, that was one of the first calls I've ever booked in the online space. And I've documented the whole thing on my Twitter as well, which is very good to see, because looking back on it, it's nice to have like a nice trail, right? My first sale, my first few book calls, 2K a month, 3K a month, bam. 7K a month, 8K a month, whatever. Like, you can see the whole journey of progression, and it's just nice because like you can look back and other people can relate to it. And I mean, I was skeptical. Yeah, I was really skeptical, man. I put in my last couple thousand into this, right? I went down to £49 in my bank account. I had no money. I didn't even tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone I had no money. Like, I was on the call. I was acting like I had money. Like, I had to make this work. I had no choice but to make it work, right? Complete empty bank account. I was starting from zero, and obviously, I've got to where I am now, but it's because I was able to put the money where my mouth is, right? I was able to tell myself, listen, you have to make this work, because I was in a rut at that point. I knew kind of I wanted to get out door-to-door sales. I've been doing it for so long, years and years and years. It was 1-2 years at that point, right? And I was like, oh, surely this can be it. I saw the online space. I didn't take action. I saw people making money. I didn't take action. I thought, this can't be true. At one point, I just got sick of myself, right? It came to like, I think in March it was. I was like, bro, what am I doing with my life, So I decided to just lock in, obviously dash all my money. I mean, I'm grateful I did that. I'll do that 10 times over, because look where it's got me now, right? But you can only really have that perspective in hindsight. You're going to feel scared. You're going to be nervous, like, oh my God, what am I doing? Is this the right journey for me? But if you put in the reps and if you really commit yourself to this, it will work out.
And going from that, so when you first started, right, basically nearly putting yourself in debt to do this, to now, like I said, making 7K in a month, $700 as well, your highest commission in one single day, right?
Yeah. That was crazy.
And how does that feel going from there to now? Well, even, of course, now we'll touch on it in a bit, but now you're setting manager for different offers. How's that growth been like? And looking back at where you started, how does it feel to actually have, come so far?
It's not often you actually take a step back to, really look at how far you've come. I think oftentimes you get so immersed in what you're doing on a day-to-day basis that you really take time to, sit back and really look at, okay, shoot, it was only in March I started, right? And like maybe on a Sunday or a Saturday, I'll just take some time out just to reflect on, wow, like, the progression I've made alone in a few months of taking action every single day has led me to where I am. Like, I'm a setter manager for multiple offers. I'm now managing reps across multiple teams. And it just shows like if you really put the the opportunities are endless, you know, closing, set of management, even growth operating, you know, it's setting is just an amazing building block to just build upon, right? To start your journey into the online space, because it's just a solid foundation. If you're a good setter, you can become a good closer, you can become a good setter manager, and you can become a good growth operator. But understanding with setting, it's not only the benefit of learning how to set, learning how to talk to leads. You begin to understand, okay, the systems inside the business. How does this business operate? You know, backends or stuff, automations, all of this. If you really want to understand all of that, being a setter is the best place to do.
For sure, 100%. And from the management point of view, if there is anything, did you take some things away from the way I managed you and the way I was kind of leading the team that you've now implemented with your own setting teams?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I'd say so, especially with the DM closing side of things. I mean, your training with the DM closing was invaluable, I'd say. I mean, we've been doing a few DM closes on a regular with the offers I manage, and that's all down to obviously the day in, day out, one-to-one support we had working with Chris, and being that we was up at like donkey's hours, 1 a.m. in the morning, trying to get leads across the line. I remember my biggest DM close, not biggest actually, one of the biggest anyway, was right few hours before the deadline was for the month.
I remember that.
Right?
I put a story about that actually.
And that was, I think, £500 in commission for me, which is about $700 just on that one, right? And we were so anxious. I think we got 2 past the line. One of them came in, one of them we were waiting to get in, and it was maybe like an hour before. Otherwise, the deal would have ticked over to the last month. So that's just a memory that comes to mind, which is, I mean, we've done it multiple times, like, you know, 2, 3 a.m. trying to get deals across the line, going through the inbox. But that's just an example of the level of commitment it takes to really, you know, see the results I saw. And obviously, Chris was able to get me.
100%. And I think even going back to that, of course, all the training in the world, the best offer, right? You need those things. But as I said, if you don't have commitment, if you haven't got, you know, emotional intelligence, you're not going to succeed. And I can sit here and say I can turn anyone into a A-player setter. That's not true. No one can, right? You need to have those things in you before you even start kind of setting, to be honest. And speaking on that, how important do you think it really is, again, for someone watching this, right, who's thinking, I want to get the same results, maybe you want to reach out to me for mentorship and guidance. How important, firstly, do you think it is to kind of be aware of your skills, right? Your strengths and your weaknesses, what it actually takes to make that jump into saying and be successful. And yeah, if they're on the fence thinking about like, you know, reaching out and getting support, what would you say to those people?
What I'd say to those people is, before you even reach out or decide to ask for guidance, do you feel like you're in a position where you could maximally benefit from Chris's guidance? Do you feel like you've done everything in your position so that when obviously you reach out to Chris for extra support, you're in the best position to take advantage of that, right? You're not just Mickey Mousing about, you know, you're not in this 100%. No, you're in this 100%. You're in it to win it, right? You're not here just to, you know, doss around and maybe make a few grand here and there, because you're going to waste his time. You're going to waste your own time at the end of the day. If you've got the hunger, if you've got the drive, and if you've already seen good results, but you want to take it up a notch or a few notches, then reach out, whatever, look for guidance, you know, from anyone, not just Chris, but just look for more guidance, look for people to, you know, to go to. But on the other hand, if you're just a person who is not really serious about this, you're dipping your toes into the same space, then don't reach out, bro. Don't reach out. Do what it takes to get to a good position, to do the trench work on your own. And then when you've exhausted all options and you genuinely don't know what you're doing, or you know what, I'm stuck, I've been at the same position for a month, 2 months now, then reach out to someone.
I could have said it better myself. Bro, thank you. Tell the people how to find you, where you're at.
Mo Rashid on Instagram and Twitter.
Brother, thank you for the video. And guys, I'll see you next time.
Stay tuned for my YouTube as well, coming soon.